Welcome to the Radio Horror Show here at WCW. Tonight, we have a returning guest to the show, hot off the success of one of the biggest movies this month, just came out recently. Halloween Ends. James Jude Courtney is back on the show to talk about the true Hollywood story behind everything that you want to know, or as much as he can still discuss without breaking an NDA. About Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Now that the entire saga is over, there's nothing he can't hold back on.
Well, kinda. It's good to be here, Chris.
Thank you for coming back on the show. Are you coming back to Rhode Island Comic Con? Because that's where I met you at.
I don't know what that schedule is for next year, and a lot has to do with my filming schedule. I have two films in the pipeline right now and a TV show. So when those pop, that's when I'll know better my schedule. Between that and my agent sets those up for me and just sort of runs them by me, as they come along, as the offers come in.
So last time we talked, you had just told me, I think when you came on the show, that the script for Kit for Ends had just arrived. I remember you saying that. You were like, the script for Ends actually just arrived.
Well, and I knew from prior to the premiere, David Gordon Green and I had talked. I knew that what the basic premise was going to be, and that David introduced me, and but he was very explicit. He wanted me to mentor Rowan, and he wanted us to create this mentor protege relationship. Which went well, and it's evolved into a friendship. He's a really special human being and a very, very talented actor.
Prior to the script coming, you were aware of the how half the movie was going to be about this Corey Cunningham character.
You broke up there.
Sorry, I said prior to the script showing up, you knew this Corey Cunningham character was going to be a big deal for the plot line.
Absolutely, and so I characterize it as as sort of like a football team, and if you have any chance of winning a championship, you've got to buy into the coach's program. There's no other way. When David brought that up, I was like, he's proven himself effectively to be an amazing, probably the best director I've ever worked with, and so if that's what he wanted to run with, then it's my job to show up 100% to give him everything he needs, and so that's what we all had that mentality. Like any player, I would like more field time. Like any actor, I want more screen time. But what's most important is the film. And so trusting David and trusting his vision, and and throwing in 1,000% with Jamie and Rowan and Andy and everybody else. That was my commitment.
Rowan plays Corey, correct?
Correct.
Okay. When I watched the film, and I've seen it twice now, so you've gotten double my money.
Good. Thank you.
And you'll get it again when the Blu-ray comes out. So I don't know if you get any points on the back end, but
well, I'm well taken care of. Let me see.
You get a point per kill, maybe, or something like that. When I saw the movie, the one thing I thought was rather interesting, and this goes back to, I think it's mentioned in Kills, that Michael Myers is useless unless he's killing. And when you're stabbing somebody and Corey's helping you, it seems like your energy is returning because you're just like slumped over and crippled and just beaten up from all the injuries before. And then, of course, a lot of people ask this question. It's like, Batman disappeared in The Dark Knight Rises for 8 years. Michael Myers disappears for 4 years. What do you think Michael Myers was doing in that sewer? Do you think it's literally he is nothing more than the essence of evil, and evil just needed a kill to rise up again?
Well, I'm still not at the place where I will intellectualize the character. It's too close. And the thing is, I could not intellectualize that character at any time during the filming of these three movies because and to do so would change the trajectory of what it is I was doing. It was a spiritual experience. It was an emotional experience. It was a very emotionally and spiritually driven character. So much so that it drove the very way I move. So if I were to intellectualize it, then I would come, my job was to show up to Christopher Nelson's special effects makeup trailer on the morning of the very first day in the same spiritual place I left with the previous movie. And so I probably, maybe over the next year or so, I'll be able to, if I even do, intellectualize the character. It's really, I'm still in it. You know what I mean? I realized when we went to the premiere that I still have been carrying so much of this character inside me, and it's going to take time for it to just naturally filter out. And then probably view the three movies, which I strongly suggest the fans view all three movies as one movie. 2018 being the first act, Halloween Kills being the second act, and Halloween Ends being the third act. So when I view the whole thing in total, I may be able to answer that. So ask me next year.
Okay. Have you read the novels that the films are? Sorry, have you read the novelizations of the three films? Have you had a chance to crack those open?
No, I have not. I have them, but I have not. This has been a blistering pace, Chris. It's been a blistering pace,
I can
and
imagine. I
in
can
addition
imagine.
to
Let's dive
yeah,
a bit more into the films themselves. Do you realize that you, and I swear to God, you show the most we have ever seen, other than in the first one where Michael's completely defaced, obviously. In the newer films, that's like even not counting Rob Zombie's movies, because Rob Zombie's movies were their own thing. You show so much of the side of Michael's face here and there. We don't get the full face. Now people meet you at cons, know what you look like, but it was really like it's almost like side boob left and right with your face.
yeah, great analogy. Yeah, no nipple, just side, right? I mean,
I mean, you get
it's
little glimpses of the scars on your face. Obviously, we get a little bit of the eye that Lori poked out. You know what I mean? Or we still just get the side glimpses, or we get like a top view and we can't see anything.
that was access of the character to give you the insight that to ask the question to the audience. Is this human? Is this inhuman? Is this what is this? And so by those little teases of the sides and top of my face, and we're adding more to the verticality of the character and more to the questioning by the audience of who this character really is and what's he about. I think it's a brilliant stroke on David's part. Just like when we put the mask on, you never really see my left eye is a prosthetic.
Yep.
My right eye is my natural eye, but you never fully see it. You never really get to see the eye. And so that adds that level of mystery. And David and Christopher Nelson really worked together on this, and Michael Simmons, the cinematographer, to create this beautiful sort of layered effect.
And I mean, was the final battle because I don't see them doing another one after this with Lori. I mean, first of all, Michael is hamburger meat. It was definitely Michael Myers they definitely killed, unlike in H2O where it's the ambulance driver.
Yeah, it's in this one, it's the end for us. I mean, I agreed to do 3 pictures. Jamie agreed to do 3 pictures. David Gordon Green agreed to do 3 pictures. So for us is the end. And whether there's a future iteration somewhere down the pike, I mean, it was 7 years, I think, after the Rob Zombie films, they decided to pull this back up, this series. So, but for me, it's the end. And
Yeah.
and I think it's
And
kind of
you're
like it's
and
kind
you
of
have
like
an
winning the
epic
Super Bowl.
and you have an epic final battle. I mean, you really have a knockdown, drag out fight with Lori, and she gets the upper hand just in time. Everyone's like, oh, they got to kill Lori. She's got to end. She's got to die with Michael. And I'm like, no, Lori should have her happy ever after, and evil should end tonight permanently. The end.
Well, I think this is all in keeping with the motif of female empowerment. It started in 2018 with dealing with her demons, with her alcoholism, with her mental illness, with her family issues, with her trauma, and then moving forward, showing that persistence is omnipotent, and the message being never ever give up, don't ever give up, and so there's a through line to these three, and it was a very powerful. I mean, obviously we shot a lot more. It happens in movies. We shot a lot more in that finale than is shown on screen, and maybe David will choose to show more on the Blu-ray. But Jamie and I both talked about it, and she said it's the most powerful thing she's ever done in her career, and I absolutely will tell you that is the most powerful scene I've ever shot in my career. It was profound.
Well, for a guy that looks like Mike Roundup Hamburger from the night before, you look pretty good. What was it they stuck in the wood chipper or the metal cruncher?
I got to tell you, man, that was so. I posted on my social media a digital scanning machine over at Vincent Van Dyke Studios. They scanned my body, and Christopher Nelson built that body and my face for the wood chipper.
Car crusher, car
Well,
grinder.
actually it was a mattress crusher, is
Okay.
what it was. Yeah, and so, but I'll tell you, I sent I captured it off a video monitor while they were doing it. I couldn't make it over to Video Village and stand there with David and all those other guys, which I really wish I could have, and Jamie and everybody else. But I captured it on a monitor, and then I sent it, surreptitiously to my partner Sarah. She knew that it was something that no one else could look at. She was in a restaurant in Nashville, so she walked out to the street, and there I was laying on this, with these grinding wheels below me, and it looks just like me. It's my body, it's my face. And then when they let the body go into the chipper, she screamed out loud on the street because she believed it was me until that moment.
They only had it. They only did the one, so it was just the one take, right? They couldn't screw it up.
Yeah, correct.
Can you imagine trying to screw that up and having to go back to the FX studio and be like, "We need you to make another copy of James's body."
And then that would have been, hey, Courtney, get over here. You're in for real.
No, you've been like, no. We do a second take. I wake up and I throw Lori in the thing. I kill everyone standing around for my funeral and walk away into the sunset.
Hey, man, if I still got paid, I'd do it.
Do you want to continue playing slashers, or do you want to do something else? Do you want to be in a rom-com? Do you want to be in a sci-fi movie? Do you want to be a hero you get to show your face off?
I have all those. I mean, all those things. I'm producing a film. I've written something that's coming of age story of a high school soccer player. I have, producing. There's one stream wants me to direct. The other stream wants another
killer soccer player.
Yeah, right. No, and then there is a horror film that I'm working on where I'm playing very much not the same thing, but I'm playing an action anti-hero. I really like the idea of doing action. I'm strong enough and athletic enough and skilled enough to do the Liam Neeson thing and I'm interested in seeing where this goes. But I've discovered in life that what's mine comes to me. So I'll do the work. I'll put myself out there, but at the end of the day, the universe is going to bring me what the universe is going to bring me, and I'll run with it.
Do you respond? I don't remember how much social media you're on. I'll be double checking obviously when we play this interview. But how with the reaction that the film has had, whether it's been positive, whether it's been just people just don't understand what the hell is going on. Are you told just stay off of it, or do you react to it? Do you comment on it? I mean, as long as it's not being grossly offensive, do you say anything back to people, or do you have anything to say about other than I believe in David, I believed in what he was going to do with the script.
You know what I don't directly address those comments, but what I have said, and I'll say again is. I think it needs to be viewed through the lens of a single film. All three of these films need to be seen as one film. And then, much like Halloween 3, I think
I love Halloween 3.
Okay, so I was fortunate enough to hang out last weekend with Tommy Lee Wallace, who directed it, and Nick Castle.
You just put a book out about the story about it.
Yeah, right. So we were talking about this, and we all kind of agreed that many of the people who don't understand or don't like Halloween Ends right now, give them time as they see it is. I think there'll be many converts just as there are on Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
So I think it takes time, and the thing is, man, we're creatives. We take chances. You've got to take a risk, and we did. And David knew this was going to be risky.
I mean, there are just bad Halloween movies out there, and I don't know if you have a favorite one or one you absolutely think just you don't know what they were doing with it. I don't like Resurrection. I don't like Part 5. I mean, Resurrection killed off Laurie, and then it did that whole thing with Busta Rhymes. And 5 just makes no sense whatsoever. And I know people don't like Rob Zombie's films, but I'll still stick his films above, 5 or Resurrection.
No, it's not so funny because, like for instance, I know people who just love the Busta Rhymes things and love the kung fu fighting. And I mean, so that's a great thing about all these films is people are so passionate that they form these opinions and then they argue about them back and forth and bring up, different points that you might or may not have, recognized. And so just the fact that there's enough passion to have people talking about it it's awesome, man. I love it. I love it. I love watching the banter.
Okay, so you've done three of these. You played Michael Myers now. By the way, the most times I think any actor has played Michael Myers through three complete films. I know there were multiple people who played him in one, and I know Nick Castle came back a little bit in your films, but you're the only actor now to play Michael Myers in three complete films. What is your favorite kill that you did?
Well, okay. See, my favorite kill in all of the films is Nick Castle's, the Bob kill. And so the fact that we paid homage to the Bob kill in Halloween Ends, that will go down as my favorite kill. I mean, it's my favorite kill in Ends. It's my favorite kill all the way through. That being said, the Cameron kill in Kills and the window kill, tied with the bathroom kills in Halloween 2018, are all right up there. But the Bob kill, 100% is my favorite.
I'm assuming you've heard how like each film has its own kind of like analogy for. Did you, by the way, did you get any Halloween Ends merchandise? Because they sent me Halloween Ends T-shirts, but but honestly, they didn't send me anything that would even fit you because you're like over 6 feet tall.
Yeah, no, I get there are some really, really wonderful people in marketing at Universal Studios, and so they have been very gracious with me. And then there's another person at Universal Studios in the UK who has sent me for these past movies and will send me again, is sending me now swag from the UK, which is different than North American swag. So getting lots of fun stuff, man. It's really cool.
I
And
have
I
a
have
bunch of the Small Kills posters if you want some.
oh, I'm set for posters.
Okay, okay.
Thanks, man.
But what I was gonna ask earlier was, so the first movie, 18, a lot of people, and Laura, I think even Jamie Lee Curtis said this in an interview, attributed it to the hashtag Me Too movement. The second film, unexpectedly, felt like the Capitol riots that happened in January of 2021. What do you think this film connects to in a real life way?
As I've stated before, persistence. I mean, in my world, as I look in the rearview mirror of my life, the highway is littered with bodies of people who quit too soon, people who just quit. And I think the message of this is, whether you're experiencing, the hashtag Me Too, whether you're experiencing the trauma of January 6th and the threat to democracy, whether you're experiencing the trauma of whatever it is in our lives that we're traumatized by, the message of this Halloween Ends is, whatever it is, it's not bigger than you. Persist. Never, ever give up. And I think that's emblematic when, in that last moment, when I've got her, and you can see it in her eyes, she's going to give up. She knows one of us has to go for this to end, and she's going to give up until her granddaughter shows up. And then all of a sudden the light comes back in her eyes and she has decided not to give up. And I think this is the overarching message of this film.
It's funny that we talked about the how this film is like, the connection to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, especially with the font being blue and all. And it's funny, in Kills we had the three costumes, the masks, the famous masks, the pumpkin, the skeleton, and the witch show up, who you kill as well.
Yeah,
and everyone asks, of course, people are like, does that mean Season of the Witch is in continuity? And I'm like, yes, all the children lived and the masks became more popular afterwards.
and the thing is there was an alternate ending. We went into reshoots and we reshot the ending, not the finale, but the ending. I think that the filmmaking is fluid. You have to be responsive to your audience, and then you have to take chances. I think there are no mistakes in what David Gordon Green did. He's a very methodical, very well thought out, very, very bright, brilliant director and writer. So nothing in this trilogy happened by accident. So the, Halloween 1, 2, 3, the Halloween 2018 kills, ends, analogies are probably pretty doggone accurate.
I mean, I don't know how old you are. I'm not going to profess to ask, but is there anything on set that was just physically overly taxing and demanding for you that you did in any of the three films playing Michael Myers?
Well, I'm not ashamed to say at all that I'm 65 years old. I'll be 66 in January. I train really hard. I train as hard as I did in college, maybe a little differently, but I train hard. I watch my diet. I get acupuncture and chiropractic and massage, and I use lasers on my body. I mean, I spend a lot of time and energy and money keeping myself, really fit and really current. Yeah, I took a beating on all three of those movies. Hematomas, bruised ribs. This past one, I, for the first time ever in a fight, in the tunnel scene, you don't see the totality of that because Rowan actually picked me up above his head. Of course, I helped him. I jumped, but he picked me up well over his head and body slammed me. It was 8 takes. For the first time ever in my career, I worried about my spine. I mean, that was a nasty hit, and I got a little minor concussion on that shot. So, but part of the fun of doing this and part of the fun of being an action actor, is that. I mean, there's nothing better, coming off a football field or coming out of a basketball game or a boxing match or, coming off the mat in martial arts, just feeling beat up, but knowing you put out and you won. And that's kind of the way it feels.
Did they cast? So you gave away your age. Did they cast you because of your age? I mean, as well, on top of your physicality, your height, and everything. Because obviously Michael Myers needs to be older. I mean, they can't. He's got to be an older guy, for the scenes that they need to show your face and your skin. You can't look like, oh, he's like a 30-year-old playing a 60-year-old. That wouldn't make any sense, and the fans would hate that too, honestly.
Well, again, that goes back to David Gordon Green. So when the stunt coordinator who had coordinated 2 of Rob Zombie's films read the script, he called Malek Akkad and he called David Gordon Green and said, look, this script is different than any other we've ever done. You need somebody to play Michael Myers. You need somebody who has really deep acting chops and is a really good stuntman. And there's not many of us around. There's just not many guys who are so well schooled, so deeply schooled in both, and have put too much time and effort into, mastering both, parts of the art, pieces of the art. So David Gordon Green said, okay, cool. Well, he's got to be 6'3", 200 pounds, and he's got to be in his 60s. Do you know anybody? And it was actually my friends, Chris Nielsen, Jennifer Nielsen. Chris is an awesome stunt coordinator and stunt man. He reminded Ron of me. And so I was the only one Ron could think of. When I went to meet David, I went down to Charleston to be put on tape because I just happened to move back to South Carolina from the West Coast. I lived in Venice and Santa Monica for 35 years, but I moved back here because at this point in the game, people are going to call me just like they did. And so I went to Charleston and they put me on tape. I didn't even get out of the parking lot, and Blumhouse called me from California asking if I was available. And I got another mile down the road and they called me back and said, can you please come back? David wants to meet you. And so it was meant to be, man.
Your co-stars, Jamie Lee Curtis, through 3 films. I mean, how amazing is she off camera? Because I know she's not a big horror movie fan, and she has said this multiple times, and some people are always shocked to hear that. And it's just like, I think she's said that in so many interviews, and if you listen to commentaries Jamie Lee Curtis is on, she said, I'm not a horror movie fan, and she looks away when there's a kill that happens, even in a scene that she's in. She doesn't want to watch it, which is totally fine. But I mean, how was her in the 3 different films? I mean, obviously 2 of the 3 you work with her, and the third one not really, because she's in the hospital and you never make it to the hospital.
Yeah, we well, in the first one, first of all, she's an amazing human being. She's a poster child for an empowered woman and just an empowered human being. She's brilliant, she's self-deprecating, she's funny, she's generous, she's kind, she's witty. There's so many. She's such a pro, and in our business, an actor, a stunt man, if you look to somebody else and go, wow, you're a real pro, I mean, that is the highest compliment you can give. And man, Jamie is a pro. On the first one, she came over, introduced herself to me. I gave her distance for a while. I wanted her, knowing that her character had much more complex emotions. Although I went really deep and dark, she had complex emotions to deal with that were relative to her real life. I mean, she's been sober 22 years now. I mean, she's had family issues. She's had, these traumatic events in her life. So, but then at a certain point, we were going to shoot the ending that we never used in 2018, and she just marched across the trailer, the makeup trailer, and said, "Okay, we got to talk about this fight thing." So that broke the ice. We started talking. We got to know each other. It was beautiful. On Halloween Kills, no, I never saw her because we didn't even work the same days or the same times. And then we were supposed to do the photo shoot together, which we did on 2018, and we did it together on Halloween Ends. For some reason, they chose to keep us apart. So they brought her in first to do her photographic stuff, and all her video stuff. And then they brought me in. By the time I got there, she had left, and she was running around going, "Where is James Jude Courtney? Where is James Jude Courtney?" And I had no idea that they were doing it like that. I thought I was doing a tandem shoot with her, so we didn't see each other at all. But man, when I showed up on Halloween Ends, she was in a transport van already. I just got out of my car, and she just ran out of the van, ran over, gave me a huge hug, and we just had the best time shooting Halloween Ends. She is an amazing woman.
When you were, have you had a chance to see like the Dahmer series on Netflix yet?
No, I haven't, but I'm a true crime guy, so I definitely want to.
Okay, so I'm wondering if you get this. Playing a fictional serial killer, do you have people throwing themselves at you in a really uncomfortable way? Like you see the people reacting to this Dahmer show like in a really romanticized, very kind of sexual way sometimes. Does this happen a lot with Michael Myers actors?
Dude, if I had $100 for every DM or personal request I got to wear the mask and do unmentionable things, I could buy a new Mercedes.
I could imagine. I mean, I think they parodied it once on if you've ever seen the TV series Holliston that Adam Green did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's an episode where Daniel Harris, like a complete characterization of herself or whatever, has Adam Green put the Michael Myers mask on while they're about to have sex.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. It seems to be a personal fetish, and I'm not offended by anybody's, as long as you're not harming children or farm animals, man. I don't care what people do. It's just but I think it's really cute and it's endearing. None of it has felt threatening.
Well, that's good. That was my next question. Is anyone ever, I mean, now that you've done this for 3 times, has there ever been a scary moment with you for you doing these films?
Well, the only scary moment, well, it wasn't even scary. I think it was just being smart. I had moved back to South Carolina. I bought a place. I gutted it and built it out, and I was just really, really focused on writing and producing, and got a few calls to do commercials and things, and
excellent. I'm glad I was able to help you with your new home.
Well, it's actually it was before 2018, and then what happened was 2018.
That's okay. I bought Buffy the Vampire Slayer box set. You're in that.
Oh, good for you, man. Thank you. Well, you did help. and you're
Dude, I own all the. I suddenly went through my library after the last time you came on and realized how much crap I own that you're in. I was just like, this guy owes me another interview.
Nice, man. Nice. I even owe you a cocktail, man. A beer, a drink, a glass of wine. Well, so anyways, I started getting because people can look up on tax records. I started getting people showing up at my door, unsolicited boxes showing up that were hand delivered. So I looked at it, but I didn't know how deep that would go and how far that would go. So I ended up selling the place and just renting under another name and just being a little more careful. And since then it's all subsided and everything's easy, and no one, I mean, even I'm recognized more and more on the street. I mean, literally every city I go to, someone will recognize me in a restaurant or recognize me, walking through a fish market in Baltimore or whatever. And but they're always respectful, always super, super respectful, and, have a short conversation, take a picture. Hands down, man, horror fans are the nicest people on the planet. Hands down.
You must have a lot of fan art handed to you as well. Do you have anything you absolutely love or anything that somebody has like sculpted based on your Michael Myers?
Oh yeah. I've really been handed so much, beautiful art and also original renderings from children, which is really, really special. I was, for a time posting some of the art. Then I had people bringing up art and asking me to post it for them, which meant they were asking me to advertise their business. And so I just kind of like had to pull back on that a little bit because I don't, I just kind of, over the years, I think I'll probably release, little screenshots of various pieces that I've been given. But man, there's some talented people out there, and it's so cool to be a part of a franchise and play a character that inspires that kind of creativity.
Now that Halloween is over for you as a character, what are you doing this Halloween?
I'll be working, man. I'll be down in San Antonio. So, I won't have the good fortune of being able to go to a Halloween party or, you know, poison kids at my front door.
Real quick, if you could play another slasher or another iconic character in fiction, who would you want to play? And it could be anything from anything. It could be from books, it could be from comics, it could be from video games, Marvel Universe, Star Wars, Star Trek. I don't care.
Well, okay, so Basil Rathbone, the great old character actor, he was in Clapton Blood. He was the sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood. He also played Sherlock Holmes, but the majority of
Yes.
his career, he ended up playing sibling, evil, vile characters, and he was a very, very, very well educated, deeply spiritual, kind, generous man who played really, really nasty characters. So I look at his career and go, man, that's the career I would love to have. Just playing these fascinating, multi-layered, just evil characters. I think that would be so much fun. And then, like he did, to all of a sudden flip it around and play, a master sleuth like Sherlock Holmes. I think it would be a blast.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. You could play like the aged old Sherlock Holmes. I've only ever seen
yeah.
that done once. I think God, what's his name? Ian McKellen, I think, played Sherlock Holmes in a movie.
Oh,
It
I'd
was
forgotten that.
Yeah, it was really good. He ends up he's retired, he's got like a local boy that comes by to help him out, and then the boy gets hurt. And it's like one last mystery Sherlock Holmes has to solve is what happened to this boy. The boy is fine, but they're about to do something terrible to like some bees, and Sherlock Holmes finds out the real reason the boy is injured and saves the bees' lives. And again, it's a cute little small mystery, the last mystery Sherlock Holmes would solve. And it was a
Wow.
beautiful movie in my opinion.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I'm really attracted to at this point doing, using all of my skills. And I think my body's a part of my instrument. And so
Yes.
I'm really attracted to doing the action actor thing, whether it be protagonist, whether it be antagonist, whether it be, I'm very attracted to the action anti-hero. I just watched on the plane yesterday. I just watched Frank Miller's Sin City again. And it's just such a brilliant, brilliant piece of work. And Mickey Rourke did such an amazing job in that film. And so, I thought a character like that would be so much fun to play.
If they ever did Sin City as a TV show, yes, Marv would be a perfect character for you to play as a if they ever decided to make it into like a TV show or something.
Oh yeah, and it'd be a blast, man.
Because I
And that
totally
was,
see. I mean, how many books are in Sin City? They did one, two films, and there are how many books?
I don't, yeah, right. And Sarah reminded me that the special effects makeup that was applied to Mickey Rourke was Christopher Nelson, who did my mask.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Zoom's about to kick us off. I thank you so much for coming back on the show to talk about Halloween Ends, answer all our questions, and give us your opinions about everything about the film because this film has been it's been a mixed bag with the fans. So you've been an absolute professional and a gentleman to talk about it and to stand up for your boss, basically David Gordon Green's your boss, and also Jason Blum as well, because Jason Blum is the backer of this whole bringing Michael Myers back, and then his next of course Green's going to do The Exorcist next, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But thank you so much for coming back on the show. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you at a con again in the future, and I do hope you have a great and happy Halloween.
You as well, Chris. It's been a blast to be here. I hope we do it again.